Thanks for having me.
Maryellen, let me ask you kind of first, out of the box here. Chris Redfern had criticized, the chairman of the Ohio Democratic Party had criticized Republicans several weeks ago for the shuffling around of candidates that they had on their side for the race for auditor. But that's exactly what happened here on the Democratic side. State Representative Jennifer Garrison had been seeking this office, Secretary of State, for several months, if not longer. She was kind of pushed out of the way to make room for you and your candidacy. And I understand primarily that was because of social issues. Ms. Garrison is pro-life on the abortion issue. Are you concerned that you are getting into this race really, really late against a Republican who, by all accounts, looks like he's going to have a lot of money in the bank for a fall campaign?
I have to point out that we don't even file our petitions till February 18th. And it's not unusual in these kinds of cycles to have, you know, shifting ebbs and flows. And it's not unusual to have a primary. In this case, we'll find out if we have a primary on February 18th, but I would suspect not. And I'm delighted to be the candidate that the Ohio Democratic Party has backed, and that Governor Strickland is backed.
How did it happen? I mean, did you get a phone call? You're minding your own business, right? And then one day the phone rings, and they say to you, "What? We think we can clear the primary?"
Or
what?
And I want to clarify something too. You know, there's a lot of buzz, you know, amongst people like us who buzz about the social issue aspect of this. I believe that that I was selected and I was courted for this because of my electability here, because I'm battle tested. And I think you all know that. And you talked about a slugfest. This is going to be a high-profile race, and people know that I have the capability of doing that race. That I have the capability of raising the money, and that I've got a great story to tell the voters here. I got a great resume to present to the voters, and I believe in the voters. Obviously, I believe in the voters, and I think that they, given the right information and the right ability to vote, will make the right choices here.
In your announcement earlier this week, you made it a big point, a major part of your announcement for Secretary of State, talking about clean elections and making sure that they're fair and that they're honorable. But the thought that went through my mind as you were saying that, is that sort of an indictment of the current incumbent? I mean, after all, Jennifer Brunner, who's a member of your party, a Democrat, has held this office for 4 years. So when you talk about election reform, is there something that has not been done on her watch, or something that's happened during her watch?
She has done a tremendous job, and I have to point to the last presidential election and how things went very smoothly compared to the previous presidential election. She has had to work very hard to get things cleaned up and on the right track, and I'm going to continue those reforms. You know, part of being in an administrative office like this, something that I know very well as being a clerk of Common Pleas Court, is that you have to stress continuous improvement. And if you don't, you're falling behind. There's always ways to make things better. We've got right now technology that's available that we're trying to apply in the Clerk of Court's office here that can be applied to the work of the Secretary of State. I'm looking forward to making sure those things happen as well. And I'm also, the neat thing that I think that I bring to the voters is that I've got all this local government experience, and people who know me know that it's real important for me to sit down and listen to people, to hear their issues, and then take those forward. I've got 88 boards of elections to meet, to get to know. These are the experts within their counties, and I'm anxious to sit down with them, talk to them about how elections go in their counties and their take on electoral reform. And so it's going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward to it.
No.
Like every candidate for Secretary of State, you say you're going to be fair and nonpartisan. I want to see just how nonpartisan here. Democrats are backing one plan to change the way we draw legislative districts. Republicans are backing another plan. Both are aimed at supposedly taking the politics out of this line drawing. The League of Women Voters and other groups who call themselves good government, they say both plans have good elements. Let's combine the two. Are you willing to endorse not just the Democrats' plan, but also the Republican plan, and say, let's put both of these together?
I'll tell you, Bill, I'm very, very much in favor of people sitting down and working out differences like this. That's the process. That's our great American democratic process. The whole idea is that you have people who come up with great ideas on two sides or three sides or four sides, and they come together and look for common ground. And certainly I support that process.
One of the things that comes to mind, though, is that Senator John Husted is the sponsor of the Senate version, we should point out. I mean, right now you have an apportionment board of which you would be a member as Secretary of State if you're elected, but it is highly partisan. It comes down to which political party controls that. His bill basically creates a supermajority where you would need 5 of 7 members to approve these legislative lines. Taking John Husted out of the equation, would it not be a good idea to have a bipartisan committee and need a supermajority? Is that concept not good?
These are all things that we need to talk about. What I find fascinating about the Democratic bill that has just been dropped, like it was just like a week ago, is that it takes the Apportionment Board and makes it more of an administrative role, because it takes all the line drawing and puts it in the rules, in the Constitution. So that the Apportionment Board is no longer in doing backroom deals and drawing lines in the in a back room. It's all open, it's fair, it's balanced, and it becomes nonpartisan. We have more competitive elections, something that obviously I'd be very much in favor of. And I think it's these things, we're going to spend months here talking about these things, and I think that's our process. And I'm looking
just as we start the campaign, a super majority.
I'm happy to talk about it. I've heard that's part of Mr. Husted's bill, and looking forward to talking about those things. His bill looks at the concept and the makeup of the Apportionment Board itself. Who draws the lines? The Democratic bill looks at the way the lines are drawn and makes sure that it's fair and balanced.
So no firm endorsement of the Senate version, but you're looking at it.
We're going to look at all of it, and we're going to talk about the good points and the bad points of all these things. I can tell you that this bill, I'm fascinated and very encouraged by the bill that the Democrats have dropped here, because it's unprecedented. There is no other in the United States that brings such fairness to the process, and we do that, and we're going to have better, fairer election of people who are going to be more responsive to their constituencies, because they're not going to win by much, because it's going to be a great debate every election cycle, rather than having people just heir apparent to a seat.
Right, Jennifer.
I think what intrigues me about these kind of conversations, Maryellen, is it's one of those conversations that those of us who follow state politics get, we're interested in, we understand the importance of, but it might be lost a little bit on the average voter.
Right.
So as you get into this election, as you get competitive in this race, how do you draw those, how do you compare and contrast with your likely opponent in a way that voters will understand the difference, and, well, in your mind, see the advantage of voting for you?
I think we have to talk about the end result that we're all trying to get to, and not get lost in the weeds of particulars here, and make sure that people have. See, I believe in the voters, and I believe that they're intelligent and they make right choices, as given the right information and the right ability to vote. And if they're given the summarized information and the opportunity to get more information, online or elsewhere, regarding the proposals, I think that's the right thing to do. And so you're right. I've been warned over and over again. Don't fall into the particulars of this. Being a bit of a wonk myself on these things. But talk about the end result and what we're trying to get to, and that will connect more. I'm looking forward to talking to folks about it, though.
All right, very good. We have to wrap up this segment, but. Will you match dollar for dollar fundraising, John Husted? I
don't think I have to match dollar for dollar fundraising. I think that I think I'll outwork my opponent, whoever it may be. Understand he's got a primary.
Right.
So it's going to be a wonderful year. I'm so much looking forward to it.
O'Shaughnessy.
O'Shaughnessy.
Very electable name, as we've learned. Good to see you.
Longest name on the ballot.
Right. Thank you very much, Maryellen. Coming up next,